Today's lesson is lesson number 3, which is I can identify rotations, which is one of our third movement. And when we do rotations, they're always going to be about the origin. That means we're going to look at the origin and rotate around that single point. As you get older, you'll rotate around different points, but not today. Our first problem today is a review problem on reflection. So this is yesterday, if you need to look at yesterday's notes. And we need to write a rule. Remember, rules say we take our original ordered pairs and then we show how we change them. And so remember, first you need to identify old versus new shape. Prime symbols are new. So the new shape is this blue one here, and my old shape is the black one. And I have to think, how did this get reflected? Which line did it reflect across? While looking here, I can see it reflected across the y-axis. So knowing it reflected across the y-axis, pause the video for a second and come up with the rule on your own, then come back and double check. I know reflections across the y-axis changed the x value. So my x's became opposite, y stayed the same. If you can't see that, write out your coordinates. F is at the point 4, 1, f prime, negative 4, 1. X was at the point 3, 3, x prime, negative 3, 3. Right there, I see that observation of my x values are changing while my y's are not. Hence why the x is the opposite of x. And so when we talk about rotations today, we have to know if we're going clockwise or counterclockwise. And so we have a clock on here if we think about our old types of clocks. Clockwise is when we go in the direction a clock moves. So if I start at my noon, I'm going to use a pen for this. If I start at noon and I go around the clock in the order of my numbers, that is a clockwise rotation. So we label it CW. If I start at noon and I go in the reverse order of my numbers, so I'm going the opposite way of my numbers, that is counterclockwise. So you need to make sure you know the difference between clockwise and counterclockwise. But the cool thing is they actually are related. And so down below we have our rules. And these rules, if you know the rules, you can answer any question. So it's just a matter of knowing these relationships. And so first we're going to fill in our degrees. We can travel 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, or 360 degrees. And those degrees come when we divide our clock into quarters. So if we think about quarters, and these are my 4 quadrants on a graph, each quarter is 90 degrees. If we go counterclockwise though, 360 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 0 degrees. I had that wrong. 0 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 360 degrees clockwise. If we go 90 degrees counterclockwise, we would end up here, which is also the same as 270 degrees clockwise. 180 degrees counterclockwise would land me here, which is also 180 degrees clockwise. 270 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 90 degrees clockwise. And 360 degrees counterclockwise is also 0 degrees clockwise. So knowing if we start with the shape in the star quadrant, if we go one way or the other, each box would be a 90-degree rotation. For each of these, we have a corresponding rule. So if I start in the box with the star and I end up in the box with the star, my points haven't changed. So when I take my original ordered pairs of x, y, and I change them, they haven't changed at all because I haven't moved. Now, if I start in the box with the star and go to the box with the x, That's 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is 270 degrees clockwise. And the relationship there is going to be opposite of y, x. So not only will my points flip, but y will also change signs. If I go from the star to the triangle, that's 180 degrees either way. And when I do that, all that's going to change is both x and y become negative numbers or opposites, but they don't switch order. If I go from the star to the circle, whether that's counterclockwise or clockwise, my points once again will flip. So I'll have y first, but x becomes opposite. And if I go 360 degrees or not at all, that's all the way around or staying where it is, so star to star, my points obviously wouldn't change because it would be the same shape. So remember, starting with my original ordered pair, this shows me how things will change. So using the rules on the front, we can go ahead and identify these problems on the back. If we are going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, 90 degrees clockwise, remember, is the same as a 270 degree rotation counterclockwise. And just like in the previous problems we've done this unit, we're going to first identify my original points. A is at -1, 2. B is at -4, 2. And C is at -4, 4. And then what I like to do, because I'm more of a numbers person than a visual person, what we're doing is we're taking this triangle here, you guys, and we are going to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. 90 degrees clockwise is 1 unit to the right. So this is my 90 degrees clockwise rotation. And I'm going to rotate it about my origin right there. And when I take that triangle and I swing it around to my next box, we have that rule we can follow. My original ordered pairs are going to become opposite. We're going to switch their locations, and x becomes opposite. So A, we switch our order of the number, so 2 and -1, but my x changes signs. So A is going to be at the point 2, 1. Here is A prime. So I'm swinging this around. If you're a visual person, I know B is going to end up here. Because I'm swinging it around, there's 3 units between A and B, 3 units between A prime and B prime. If I look at the coordinate mathematically, it'd be 2, -4. 4 becomes the opposite. So it's 2, +4. I got that right. C is 2 units from B. 2 units from B. So here is my C prime. Looking at my coordinates, 4, -4, but that -4 becomes a positive. And we can make my new shape. If you have your rule, it makes everything much easier to do mathematically. So sometimes you might need to come up with your new coordinates, then graph them to come up with your new shape. Others of us may be more visual, so we might graph the new shape first, and then write the coordinates and make sure they follow our rule. Our next example is a 180 degree clockwise rotation, which we know is the same as 180 degrees counterclockwise rotation. Once again, start with your original ordered pairs. A is at 1, 2. B is at 1, 4. And C is at 4, 2. 180 degrees clockwise is going to take me 2 coordinates over, so that's 180 degrees clockwise. I'm going to end up in this quadrant over here. And then I also can think about my rule. XY becomes opposite of X, opposite of Y. All my ordered pairs are just going to have negatives now. So -1, -2, -1, -4, -4, -2. If you are more of a visual person, you might want to think about swinging this A around 180 degrees, and we end up right here. We have my A prime. When I think about swinging my B value, oh, I have my A prime in the wrong spot. Hold on. This is why I like to have my ordered pairs first. So when I swing that A prime, it's going to end up at -1, -2. So A prime is going to go from here to here. A prime, B prime, I know is related to A prime. It's going to swing down to here. And then C prime is at -4, -2, C prime. This one was a little harder for me to visualize, as you can tell. And so I made a few mistakes, but that's why it's helpful to have my rule with my new coordinates to help me graph my new shape. If you're a visual person, you might have been able to see that swing. And our last example today, we are doing a 270 degrees clockwise rotation, which we know would be the same as a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. So 270 from here is 3 boxes clockwise. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to end up right here. So 270 degrees clockwise, or that 90 degrees counterclockwise. We're going to end up in this quadrant here and start with our original ordered pairs. So A is at -4, -3. B is at -4, -1. And C is at -1, -3. When I think about the rule, use those rules to help you. My ordered pairs, 90 degrees counterclockwise, are going to flip spots, and Y will become opposite. So opposite of Y, comma, X. So using this rule, we can try to visualize that rotation, or you can do it mathematically using our rule. So we're going to flip around my ordered pairs. Y becomes opposite. Flip around my ordered pairs. Y becomes opposite. Flip around my ordered pairs. Y becomes opposite. Now that I have my points for my new shape using my rule, it's going to be a lot easier for me to graph because this is sometimes a hard visual to see. So A is going to go from here, 270 degrees, to +3, -4. So it's going to go way over to here is my A prime. B is going to go from here all the way over to +1, -4, B prime. And C is going to go from here and then rotate all the way over to 3, -1, C prime. Connect our dots to make our new shape, and then think about how you can visualize how that rotation worked. Maybe you're more visual, you like graphing first. Maybe you rely on those rules like I do and find those new points first. Just make sure you're labeling your new shape correctly.